Hare Krishna. We will be continuing our reading and discussing, reflecting, but mostly reading 10th Canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And as I explained before, we will be reading it in a way, in a certain method. There's a certain method to our reading. We will be reading first Krishna book, then we will be reading the chapter of 10th Canto, or Srila Prabhupada's commentary or commentary of his disciples. Then we read Acharya's commentaries, and then wherever is appropriate to a Lila, we will also read from Ananda Vrindavan Champu and Gopal Champu to have as much as possible absorption and details of each Lila and overall Krishna's pastimes. So we left yesterday with a preface to the chapter, to the Krishna book, which is a summary study of 10th Canto, and we'll pick up today where we left off yesterday. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangumlam Gayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so we're continuing with the preface of Krishna book. Within the prison of his maternal uncle Kamsa, where his father and mother were confined, Krishna appeared outside his mother's body as the four-handed Vishnu Narayana. Then he turned himself into a baby and told his father to carry him to the house of Nanda Maharaja and his wife Yashoda. When Krishna was just a small baby, the gigantic demoness Putana attempted to kill him, but when he sucked her breast, he pulled out her life. There is a difference between the real Godhead and a god manufactured in the mystic factory. Krishna had no chance to practice the mystic yoga process, yet he manifested himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead at every step, from infancy to childhood, from childhood to boyhood, from boyhood to young manhood. Interesting, Srila Prabhupada said Krishna didn't have any time, no chance to practice mystic yoga process. He was so busy, right? Busy playing, killing demons, playing with his boyfriends, and with his friends, and with his girlfriends who are the gopis, and there's no dull moment in Krishna's life, and so there's no time to practice mystic yoga. So he had to be God. He didn't have chance to become God. It's interesting. Srila Prabhupada put it. In his book, in this book, Krishna, all of his activities as a human being are described. Although Krishna plays like a human being, he always maintains his identity as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since Krishna is all attractive, one should know that all his desires should be focused on Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita means all his, all our desires. Yeah? Since Krishna is all attractive, one should know that all, I would say, one's desires, Srila Prabhupada writes, all his desires should be focused on Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the individual person is the proprietor or master of his own body, but that Krishna, who is a super soul present in everyone's heart, is a supreme proprietor and supreme master of each and every individual body. As such, if we concentrate our loving propensities upon Krishna only, then immediately universal love, unity, and tranquility will be automatically realized. When one waters the root of a tree, he automatically waters the branches, twigs, leaves, and flowers. When one supplies food to the stomach through the mouth, he satisfies all the various parts of the body. So if we focus on pleasing Krishna, all our other necessities will be satisfied. It's of course much easier said than done, but that's why we have to hear every day, and our faith in that fact should grow. Because if we associate with somebody who shatters this faith, that no, you have to endeavor for this, you have to endeavor for that, there's really no time to pray or to do things for Krishna, you need to take care of your family, you need to take care, of your career, job, whatever it is. This is how the whole world is wired, right? So to remind oneself constantly that you take care of serving Krishna, Krishna will take care of you. It's definitely how it works, but because of lack of faith, we are not always able to, live in such a way. But Shravanam, daily reminder, and that's why we need to hear Bhagavatam every day, right? Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Hearing Bhagavatam every day, hearing Krishna conscious philosophy and Krishna's pastimes every day is something which is the food, the diet for our soul, and for the only way to purify our mind from material contamination, because what we feed our mind with is really determines where our priorities in life would lie, and also will determine how we how much time we allot for our endeavors for maintaining the body, the soul within the body, and how much time we actually dedicate to nourishing the soul and uncovering the soul from all these layers of contamination and starting to realize who we really are. It's a long shot, but it's it's something which without focus, without desire, it's even more unlikely to happen. Anyway, carrying on. Since Krishna is all attractive, we've been there. The art of focusing one's attention on the Supreme and giving one's love to Him is called Krishna consciousness. We have inaugurated the Krishna consciousness movement so that everyone can satisfy his propensity for loving others simply by directing his love toward Krishna. The whole world is very eager to satisfy the dormant propensity of love for others, but the various invented methods like socialism, communism, altruism, humanitarianism, and nationalism, along with whatever else may be manufactured for the peace and prosperity of the world, are all useless and frustrating because of our gross ignorance of the art of loving Krishna. Generally, people think that by advancing the cause of moral principle and religious rights, they will be happy. Others may think that happiness can be achieved by economic development and yet others think that simply by sense gratification they will be happy. But the real fact is that people can be happy only by loving Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada, of course, likes to think, here he gives a lot of credit to people who want to love and want to serve the humanity. The very fact is that majority of population is self-serving, they're self-centered, and maximum they want to serve them and their family or maybe their community. So it's, as Srila Prabhupada often says, it's an extended egocentrism or extended egoism, whatever is mine. So sense of mineness could be a little bit extended, but still egoistic. But loving Krishna is real egoism, because our real ego is eternal servant and lover of Krishna. So, but how we will do that? Because naturally we are wired by material nature to serve ourselves or maybe people who are connected to us. Again, the only way to do it, of course, we need to get Krishna mercy, we need to get Guru's mercy. But the way how Guru Krishna Srila Prabhupada recommends us to do it is by following bhakti process, of course, chanting the holy name. But even chanting the holy name will only be effective, or we will be enthusiastic to be focused and not distracted from chanting when we hear enough, when we have proper association of people who has the same focus. So proper association and hearing, constant hearing, inspiration. We need to take inspiration, daily inspiration, hourly inspiration, or as much inspiration as we need to actually shift our priorities and understand not only that we need to love Krishna, but how to develop this love for Krishna, what daily steps I need to make to develop this love for Krishna, what daily activities I need to make to develop this love for Krishna. And naturally, we could serve the humanity. The best way to serve the humanity when we have their Krishna consciousness in center. We will think how I can give Krishna to others. Maybe it will come in the form of starting with something obvious, giving them food, but maybe we don't give just food, we give Krishna prasadam, or helping them, even materially helping them, taking care of them. But we know we're taking care of them because ultimately we want to help them to get out of their material entanglement. So the desire to help is, Srila Prabhupada often says, is helping the drowning man is save him or her, not just their clothes. Of course, while saving somebody who is drowning, we are not necessarily remove the clothes and then need to get a person naked out of the water. We can save them with the clothes, meaning while helping somebody, we can help them body, we can come from the point of helping them to become healthier, or healthier physically or mentally, maybe more materially together. But this is the angles from which one or another preacher of Krishna consciousness will come, depending on their qualification, their affinities, and how they feel they can reach out to different audience. Because naturally, pure Krishna consciousness is a hard sell for majority of populace. It's not something that what they're interested in, but also it requires utmost purity, which most of us maybe don't have yet. So we would need to come from different angles and take care of different aspects and needs of people whom we try to give Krishna consciousness. I hope it makes sense. Anyway, I wanted to expand on this, coming back to the text. Krishna can perfectly reciprocate one's loving propensities in different relationships called mellows or rasas. Basically, there are 12 loving relationships. One can love Krishna as a supreme unknown, as the supreme master, the supreme friend, the supreme child, the supreme lover. These are 5 basic love rasas. One can also love Krishna indirectly in 7 different relationships, which are apparently different from the 5 primary relationships. All in all, however, if one simply reposes his dormant loving propensity in Krishna, then his life becomes successful. This is not a fiction, but it is a fact that can be realized by practical application. One can directly perceive the effects that love for Krishna has on his life. So 5 rasas, right? If Prabhupada says one can love Krishna as a supreme unknown, Shanta rasa, supreme, but we don't have really any relationship with Krishna, any personal reciprocation, but only admiration, supreme unknown, Shanta rasa. Right, or the Supreme Master, the relationship of a servant and the master. So it's Dasya Rasa, or Supreme Friend, of course, Sakya Rasa, Supreme Child, Vatsalya Rasa, we love Krishna as a child, if somebody has this affinity, and Supreme Lover, Madhurya Rasa. Of course, in Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, and the method which, or the special gift which Lord Chaitanya came to give, is to give Madhurya Rasa. That means that we are given all facilities to develop whatever propensity we feel inclination to. This is, of course, the level of Raganuga Bhakti. Once we are attracted by some servant of Krishna in Vrindavan, or some servants of Krishna, or particular servant of Krishna in Vrindavan, and we are attracted by his or her service, then reading about it and cultivating it slowly uncovers our natural inclination. And initially we would read everything and see where our heart goes. It's really nobody can decide for us which relationship with Krishna we should have. Neither we need to speculate, I cannot have, maybe I have this inclination, but who knows, maybe it's not my eternal relationship. Basically, whatever inclination one has towards Krishna, just cultivate it. Krishna reciprocates. Krishna reciprocates with, he said, Srila Prabhupada said, of course, Krishna says it in Bhagavad Gita, Yayat hamam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajami aham. Krishna, Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna can perfectly reciprocate one's loving propensities in different relationships. So he reciprocates. He doesn't need to dictate us however we want to love Krishna. Krishna can fulfill these desires. So whatever propensity we have, we can cultivate it without any fear. Of course, it's good always to speak with Guru, but in fact, Guru would ask which propensity we have. Right? He will not tell, okay, you are this or you are that. It's not the business of the Guru to tell us which relationship we have with Krishna. In fact, Guru would inquire from us, where do you feel inclined to go, which particular, at some point, it might be relevant or irrelevant at certain point. They become more and more relevant as we progress in spiritual life. Right? But again, if for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Madhurya Rasa is quite natural cultivation. If we look, we have Radha Krishna everywhere on the altar, right? But here in Mayapur we have Radha Madhava, in Vrindavan Radha Shyama Sundara, and it's very prominent in our ISKCON movement and in Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. All our main deities, Govinda, Gopinath, Madhana, Mahana, all together with Radharani. Of course, we know the story of Govinda, where there was a big kind of a discussion why Radharani is there. She's not even his wife, not Krishna's wife, and the whole thing where Govinda Bhashya, and then basically they claim that the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya is not really a Sampradaya because we don't have commentary on Vedanta Sutra, and the whole practice seemed to be a little bit strange. And then, well, David Bhushana, of course, he wrote Govinda Dev, he dictated him Govinda Bhashya. Anyway, that's another story for another time. Coming back to where we are. Okay, so in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, this science of Krishna consciousness is called the king of all knowledge, the king of all confidential things, and the supreme science of transcendental realization. Yet, we can directly experience the results of this science of Krishna consciousness because it is very easy to practice and is very pleasurable, right? Isn't it easy to practice? Isn't it super pleasurable? Well, not always, right? And it's okay. Again, it's just a matter of us being in this material world for millions of lifetimes and doing something else. And now we basically moving very, very fast. It's one lifetime. Srila Prabhupada said, you can come back to Krishna within one lifetime, but it's not happening immediately, and it might not always be blissful. It might not always be pleasurable because we commit offenses. It's natural. We need to be free from offenses. We need to be free from doubt. We need to be focused to really get this pleasure. But nevertheless, whatever it is, process is working, and we just need to do more Shravanam, do more Kirtanam, associate with people who do experience pleasure in the process of Bhakti Yoga, and for whom it is much easier than it is for us. And that's how we get there as well. No? Sadhu Sangha is the primary principle to move forward. Whatever percentage of Krishna consciousness we can perform will become an eternal asset to our life, for it is imperishable in all circumstances. It has now been actually proved that today's confused and frustrated younger generation in the Western countries can directly perceive the result of challenging the loving channeling the loving propensity toward Krishna alone. So the beauty of it, whatever endeavor we are making, Krishna says, Nabhikrama nashasti, that in this endeavor there is no loss or diminution, and even little endeavor become our eternal. He says it protects one from greatest danger. Most probably many of you know, I know for sure, in material life you can make so much endeavor and it's all just crumbles down and you have nothing to show for. You might spend years building something up, and it just, for some people it all works out and they think, and I'm a great doer, but in reality karma plays out and Krishna also plays out. But material endeavor, the success in material endeavor, it's never guaranteed, and it's temporary, and it's not satisfying at the end. We always want more, we're never satisfied. Whereas spiritual endeavor, doesn't matter if you're successful or not, you're always successful. You're always, there's no, you make step up, you never go down. Unless, of course, we commit Vaishnava apparatus, which can uproot our Bhakti Lata. But, we need to be very careful about it. It's a beautiful thing, right? So why not spend more time? One of the symptoms of Bhava Bhakta, avyartha kalatvam, he doesn't want to, or she doesn't want to waste any moment in anything other than serving Krishna or being engaged in Krishna consciousness, because why? It doesn't make sense, right? So if we love doing something and we can do it all the time, our mind attractive to it, why do we want to do something else? Anyway, so, but sometimes we don't want to do it. Sometimes we don't feel like, we feel like doing something for our mind. Yeah, we need to do sometimes. We need some dosage of Maya to maybe not to feel dry completely. Anyway, everybody has their own mixture of situations, the lessons which he or she needs to learn, or whatever now they have a third gender and fourth gender and fifth gender. Oh my God, the world is going crazy anyway. Don't want to offend anybody, but there are only two genders, right? Male and female. But that's another topic for another discussion, because that's how God made it. Of course, we can hear about Shikandi, right? Shikandi, somebody who was born female, but he really wanted to be male, right? And then he was, or she, I don't know how to say it. She was so adamant that even her parents arranged her marriage with a queen of another kingdom, and then the marriage happened, and then the girl found out that she was married to another girl, and there was the whole scandal. Then she kind of went to a sage, I forgot the name anyway. So they made a switch. That he gave her his masculinity, and she gave him his femininity. And he said, so just that when they come to check on you, you will appear male, and then you can come back, we will exchange back. But then it didn't happen. He got cursed that because he did this, he got cursed as this sage that he would just remain female forever. But then the curse was kind of softened and said, okay, when Shikandi dies, you can get your masculinity back. Anyway, so that's transgender in a Vedic history. That no operations were needed, no hormone therapy, nothing. No? Anyway, something there. And of course, Shikandi was destined to kill Bhishma. It was Amba in previous life. Anyway, it's a big story. Anyway, let's not go there. Okay, so it is said that although one executes severe austerities, penances, and sacrifices in his life, if he fails to awaken his dormant love for Krishna, then all his penances are to be considered useless. Shrava eva hi kevala, right? This is Bhagavatam. Anything else, if we don't awaken our Krishna consciousness, particularly desire to hear Katha Suyat. Yeah? So if we don't develop taste for hidden Krishna Katha, all our endeavors are useless. So this is my personal kind of commitment of developing this taste. And I don't know, whoever hearing this, Hare Krishna, maybe you will find it useful as well. But that's the idea. On the other hand, if one has awakened his dormant love for Krishna, then what is the use of executing austerities and penances unnecessarily? Right? We know demons can perform great austerities. Ravana performed great austerities. Hiranyakashipu, tremendous austerities. We can think, like people say, you need to work hard. It's nothing comparing to what Hiranyakashipu has done. But people can work hard and go through immense hardships to achieving their material goals, but they're all useless. at the end it's all useless. So much endeavor, so much sweat, so much sacrifices for nothing. So we should not be so much enthusiastic about it, ultimately. But param drishvam nivartate. Why we would not be enthusiastic for this? When we become more and more enthusiastic for Krishna. We cannot artificially renounce, right? But substituting with a higher taste. And again, higher taste comes from association, Shravanam. The Krishna consciousness movement is a unique gift of Lord Chaitanya to the fallen souls of this age. It is a very simple method which has actually been carried out during the last 4 years in the Western countries. So Srila Prabhupada, now you can calculate, Srila Prabhupada was writing it is in 1969 because he came in 1965, right? So last 4 years he was developing an amazing progress. By 1969, our movement, devotees went to London to expand to several centers in America, and devotees so dedicated, so sold out to Srila Prabhupada. Amazing, only 4 years. Of course, then after that it took just turbo growth. In the last 7 years of Krishna consciousness was just dynamic development taking over the world in very, very short time. Amazing. Srila Prabhupada bestowed a lot of qualification on his disciples, and Krishna sent amazing dedicated souls who were destined to help Srila Prabhupada to spread this movement, and we eternally indebted to both Srila Prabhupada and his disciples to bring this treasure of Krishna consciousness to all of us. And all of us has to do our part to carry on. It will not just happen by itself, right? Each one of us has the debt to pay and has the mission in Srila Prabhupada's mission, Lord Chaitanya's mission. So Srila Prabhupada said, it has been carried out during the last 4 years in the Western countries, and there is no doubt that this movement can satisfy the dormant loving propensity of humanity. This book, Krishna, is another presentation to help the Krishna consciousness movement in the Western world. This transcendental literature is published with profuse illustrations. People love to read various kinds of fiction to spend their time and energy. Now this tendency can be directed to Krishna. The result will be imperishable satisfaction of the soul, both individually and collectively. Now we should remember Srila Prabhupada was writing it in 1969, and of course in 2022 the amount of entertainment, amount of gadgets and different devices which can steal our mind increased tremendously. People don't read basically anymore, don't read novels, they just watch Netflix, they watch movies, they watch series, and it's just much easier to consume. So for Krishna consciousness movement to cater to the diminishing ability to focus and being not distracted is becoming more and more challenging, but devotees creating newer and newer ways to capture. So it's dynamically we use all this media, like we use of course YouTube, and use different social medias. Devotees use profusely too, and then they can spread Krishna consciousness in ways which were never even dreamed of before. The influence which some of devotees have now in the world is amazing, like for example Gaur Gopal or Ganeshyam Jai Shetty. Of course, he's not doing it super directly, but still people know his devotees and he presenting Krishna consciousness to a very, very high ranking individuals in entertainment and politics and science, and very, very influential people who, if they take Krishna consciousness, of course. I just saw his interview with Will Smith, right? And he said, "Oh yeah, I know this all, Krishna and Radhanath Swami, It's amazing, right? All this coming through, and the world become infected Krishna consciousness, and each one of us can play our small role. Some individuals are immensely empowered, and some don't have this empowerment, but each one of us can play our small role, and why not? It's everyone can, the bird can only fly as high as it can, right? As Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says. So there is no contribution too small, and specifically for our own purification. So we should always endeavor and don't worry for result. When we become eligible, then Krishna will give us more influence and ability to to change more hearts. But for now, whatever we can, we do, and just do it for Krishna. Srila Prabhupada was preaching, there was nobody there, right? He said, you preach to four walls. And his Guru Maharaj said, you preach to four walls, doesn't matter. The Narada Muni is there, demigods are there. As soon as you speak about Krishna and you chant Krishna's holy name, those who know the value of it, they will be present. And coming back, Srila Prabhupada continues, right? It is said in the Bhagavad Gita that even a little effort expended on the path of Krishna consciousness can save one from the greatest danger. Hundreds of thousands of examples can be cited of people who have escaped the greatest danger of life due to a slight advancement in Krishna consciousness. We therefore request everyone to take advantage of this great transcendental literature. One will find that by reading one page after another, an immense treasure of knowledge in art, science, literature, philosophy, and religion will be revealed. And ultimately, by reading this one book, Krishna, love of Godhead, will fructify. Amazing. We will not only be reading one book, Krishna will be reading Krishna book, and Bhagavatam, and Ananda Vrindavan Champu, and Gopal Champu. So, chances are pretty good. But we need to read it with intention, with desire to please Krishna, please Guru, please Srila Prabhupada, and ask their mercy that by doing this, we quickly become purified. My grateful acknowledgement is due to Srimad George Harrison, now chanting Hare Krishna, for his liberal contribution of $19,000 to meet the entire cost of printing this volume. May Krishna bestow upon this nice boy further advancement in Krishna consciousness. It's amazing, Srila Prabhupada personally mentioned the amount also and personally thanked George Harrison, and we spoke about this story yesterday. And at last, my ever willing blessings are bestowed upon Shriman Shyamasundara Das Adhikari, Shriman Brahmananda Das Brahmachari, Shriman Hayagriva Das Adhikari, Shriman Sattvarupa Das Adhikari, Shriman Devahuti Devidasi, Shrimati Jadurani Devidasi, Shriman Muralidhara Das Brahmachari, Shriman Bharadvaja Das Adhikari, and Shriman Pradyumna Das Adhikari, etc., for their hard labor in different ways to make this publication a great success, right? So Shyamasundara Prabhu, of course, he helped to, he befriended Beatles and he helped to procure the money. Brahmananda Prabhu, he negotiated with Dai Nippon, the Japanese publishing company. He was very instrumental in all this. I think Hayagriva's Satsvarupa, and they help with editing. Satsvarupa Das Goswami now, and before he was actually involved immediately in BBTO, was ISKCON Press at that time. And I assume that, I mean, definitely Jadurani, Murlidhara, and Bharadwaja, they are artists. I guess Devakhuti is also artist. And Pradyumna Das Adhikari, of course, he's Sanskrit editor who was for many years doing this service for Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Advent Day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, February 26, 1970, ISKCON Headquarters, 3764 Vatseka Avenue, Los Angeles, California. So it was 1970, beginning of 1970. Hare Krishna, I think it's enough for today. Whoever was there, if nobody's there, also okay, but whoever was there, if you found it helpful, if it's something which you enjoy and think it can benefit you, please like this video. It will help this YouTube channel to grow. It's just a tiny, it's only second video. There's almost nothing. Since yesterday I had 3 subscribers. But we hope this YouTube channel will grow. But if it doesn't grow, I actually don't regret. I'm feeling so ecstatic just doing this every day for my own purification. If it helps somebody, please do subscribe to this channel and like this video and share this with somebody whom you think could benefit from it. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.